welcome to the inaugural event for Friday's PikesDay, which I'm working on the name, give me a break. So if you don't know about the Race of the Clouds, it is basically a hill. A very big hill. It's a mountain, in fact, and you have to race from the bottom to the top. Now, this is one of the most grueling races in the world. Now, I'm not going to do the entire track. We're just going to go all the way up to here, but not right to the end, because this is a very tricky track, and I don't want to go off a million times, but spoiler, I kind of do. So this is a pretty tricky race. I took yesterday's video's car as a bit of a baseline, as a car that's really good. It did almost a 2-minute around the automation test track, which is pretty darn sweet. This one was a really good one. Now you can see that this track is very technical, very tricky, and very scary. The amount of like near-death videos that are up on YouTube for this track are astounding, and I would strongly suggest going checking them out if you're into motor racing. But yeah, I just thought I would show you guys a little bit of what this track is like, get a baseline time reading for a 600 horsepower Skyline knockoff, as I've got written on the back of it, Godzilla, because it's not the real Godzilla, it's the cheap knockoff. And by the end, I was able to get down a 252, which I think is a pretty decent time, though this isn't third person using a controller. I could do a whole lot faster. But now I need a car for today's video. Now, we're going to go for the open class, so unlike the Nissan, this one is going to be incredibly small, light, lots of downforce, and just an absolute berserk. Kinda something maybe like the Suzuki. That car was insane. And we're gonna try to stick the engine anywhere other than the front to try to get that rotatable weight distribution. You also want to have the center of gravity quite low, say like maybe one of these Lotuses, but I think we might go with this. What do you guys think? 2.3 meters? That's dangerously short, is it not? That front end reminds me of like Neapolitan ice cream. Now I want Neapolitan ice cream. God damn it. So we are going to go with, I mean, are we going to go completely balls to the wall all out, or are we just going to go with, say, fiberglass? I think we're going to go fiberglass because you do have to keep in mind that this is not like a big event. It's fun and all that kind of stuff, but there's not really a whole lot of sponsorship for it because it is just a single event. Then we're going to go with a space frame made of, I mean, they might go a little bit more expensive. Oh, wait. That's a lot more expensive, and it's only a little bit lighter. So yeah, I think we're just gonna go with steel on that one. Even though I'd love to make this out of aluminium, like a tubed aluminium frame, that couldn't go wrong at all. Then I think we're gonna go a mid-longitudinal, because if we're gonna go a mid-transverse, the engine will sit right about here, which will keep the weight tooth out of the rear. If we go mid-longitudinal, it'll spread it forwards a little bit. So we do have a bit of balance. Push rod on the front, and we'll see if we can get away with push rod on the rear. Now this is going to be a flat 6. This is the general consensus is of flat 4s and flat 6. Forced induction is the way to go. So we're going to go a Boxer 6 aluminium, and we're going to try to base it off of another engine. We're going to go with the Subaru engine, because this one will be quite a cheap one to come across, and the price should be particularly bad. So we're going to go 92 and 91, which is a very square engine. Dual overhead cams, 4 valves per cylinder, aluminium, no variable valve lift, cast, and cast for now. That is fun to watch. That is really fun to watch. You really could just make a series of just like watching pistons and stuff moving. Compression ratio was quite high, but I mean, they might make it a lot higher. We're aiming for about 1,000 horsepower, but I doubt we're gonna get that. The cam profile is gonna be fairly high. Variable valve timing on all cams, which is a fairly common thing. Turbocharger, ball bearing, and we're gonna aim for a buttload of power. Set this to race. Injection, probably a multi-point per cylinder, and race, running on 100 RON fuel. Dual exhaust, no cat, no mufflers. So it seems we have a bit of a problem with knocking and our pistons wanting to pull the connecting rods from the crankshaft right out of the engine. So turn that fuel mixture up a bit, help with that. And then on the bottom, we're gonna try just start offing with forged. Not enough, okay? Lightweight forged. Still not enough. Let's try increasing the quality a bit. Still not enough. Okay, the con rods have to be lightweight titanium. There we go. Now we got the RPM. But still, that's only just on the edge, and we're about to actually raise this up. So yeah, this engine is under incredible amounts of power. All right, yeah, we're gonna down this and put in a shorter straw connecting rod. We're gonna go an 80 millimeter. And we're gonna say that this is overboard a little bit. Say a couple millimeters. So we bored it out 3 extra millimeters, which is quite a lot. But then, yeah, we're gonna drop this down a lot. There we go, okay. That is right at the top of our area there. We don't wanna go hugely expensive. We have to aim for about 750-ish kilowatts. We're about 100 off. Okay, we're a little over 1,000 horsepower now. Yeah, we're gonna try to keep this as light and as small as possible. This is going to be an all-wheel drive car to help get that traction out of the corners. We're going to go with a sequential because that is a very affordable transmission to come by, and there's many of them in the aftermarket sector to attach to cars. We are going to give it a 7-speed because we need to be able to get through those gears really quickly. Up that top speed quite a bit, though not a huge amount because this isn't a high-speed racetrack. A geared LSD, a little bit to the rear. We don't want to put that too much to the rear because we still do want to be able to have those front wheels keep us under control, especially since we're running quite a short wheelbase, which on the longer corners will become quite a problem. Radials, semi-slicks, fatten those boys up, alloy wheels, vented discs, probably a 1-piston in the front, and a vented disc, probably a 2-piston in the rear. Fully clad, a little bit of brake airflow, 1 seat, basic, oh no, it will be a sport, none. Hydraulic, ABS, yes please. I really need that ABS. Then safety will be basic 90s, but drop the quality down a bunch. Standard spring, gas monotube, and passive, and set this to race. Though we probably should set it to sport, shouldn't we? Oh, that looks fat, boy. Oh yeah. Though we're starting to get into crazy amounts of oversteer by about 70. So what we have to do is put on so much downforce that it won't actually do that. Now, which one of these scrapes and which one doesn't, I forget. Even here it says we're having massive amounts of problems with oversteer, so there's, yeah, a bit of a problem with that. A 0 to 100 with this 1,000 horsepower though is about 2.9 seconds. I would have liked faster, but I don't think there's a lot we can do there. What's our weight? 1,300 kilos? Damn. We are gonna cap our top speed at about 300 kilometers an hour, since it won't go a whole lot, like 20, 30 kilometers an hour faster. This is, once again, still not a particularly fast track. Okay, I think we're getting that bottoming out glitch again. I wish I could see where the bottoming out was happening. Well, I deleted them, and it's still saying that we're gonna bottom out. So, shit. So here we've got the oversteer dealt with on low speed. So this is basically the calculations without downforce. And we really needed to take over at about 80 kilometers an hour. So on aerodynamics, 80 kilometers an hour says we're getting a whole bunch of understeer. So maybe we'll widen out the front again, or we just give the front a hell of a lot more downforce. Now at about the 80 kilometer an hour mark, we are going to start getting a little bit of understeer due to the downforce. The downforce is also probably going to pop off, so we really do have to be careful about our oversteer. Okay, I think we've got this good. At about 80-ish kilometers an hour, the downforce will take over, and unfortunately it's going to create understeer, but that's better than the snap oversteer that you would expect from such a short wheelbase. I think we should move on to making this thing look good, which is a body I've used before, but I want to try again. So, some of you may recognize this badge and kind of the feel of the styling. Yes, this is the PCP brand again. We brought it back for the Pikes Peak, and I thought it just kind of fitting if we're gonna go with a space frame, fiberglass, cheaper running, sports slash hyper kinda, but not really, more of a just kind of supercar, that this should be the brand that I use. And to also kick off the brand new Friday's Peaks. No, Friday's Pikes. That's the one. Okay, yeah, Friday's Pikes. That's gonna take me a while. Fridays with Pikes? Friday Pike. I don't know. If you guys think you can come up with a better name, than just Friday's Pikes, then I will certainly gladly take that on. As for now, I think we are ready to take this over to BeamNG. I am kind of happy with how this turned out. We might put a little something here first though, but as for now, I'm happy with this. Even though these things are doing a very weird, yes, very weird. All right, well, this game is unpolished, as you can see here, a nice flush tire. And then over this side, not so flush. Oh, I'm gonna have to contact the devs on this one, I think. Yep, I've tried adjusting them, and yes, it is just off-center. It's cockeyed. What the hell? This here should also include 5M for, like, the Grand Theft Auto people. That if I could play this in 5M, that would be amazing. I would just be in love. Well, I brought in some other versions, and it just seems that no matter what I do, I cannot not have this. Fortunately, though, it doesn't really obstruct, only really under braking, but then again, it has to be hard braking, so let's hope that it won't fall off in the midst of a race. Now, if you're following along at home, it will be the Devil's Playground Short, which I don't know why it's called the Devil's Playground, but generally I didn't want to do the long one because that one's a really, really long race. And just the amount of time which I could spend having accidents, I don't really want to do that. I just want to get some like good, clean races. Call me a coward, but sure. So now I spent about an hour trying to get this lap down, and it was so much fun. Really, really tricky. It's one of the hardest races I've ever done. What you're going to experience in a little bit, though, is unfortunately there's a bit of an oopsie-daisy. I didn't record any game audio during this entire thing because OBS likes to throw every curveball at me, but eventually, after probably 45 minutes, it finally came to it. It came up this. Is that the end? Oh my god, it's the end! I've seen the light! Fuck it, I don't care. I'm going for it. Oh, shit. Oh my god. What a nightmare this is. All right, fine, I want a real time. So with, like, predictably minimal fuss, we finally got around to doing another little lap. Like, just don't look at this part, but here we go. This is the piece de resistance, the maximum lap, and I am very sorry there's not audio. I'm gonna try to put in a little bit of audio, hopefully that'll help. But generally, we're just gonna relax and just enjoy the fact that I finished a lap. And this time, it will be finished completely with me going through the finish line and everything. So, what was like the real biggest issue here is, it's kind of like polishing something that's particularly long. If you like have to keep starting over at the beginning all the time, you're gonna get very good at the first few parts. But as you get onto the later parts, you're getting into parts which you just don't know. And it becomes real problematic. But generally, I am actually quite happy with how the lap eventually turned out. There are a few places, like I learned all my braking markers. You'll notice that most of my braking points are fairly dead on, which even when you watch the pros do this sort of stuff, even they will brake a little too early because, you know, being afraid of life and limb and losing millions of dollars in R&D for a race vehicle. All of that'll do them in. But generally, I've done a pretty good job of picking my braking markers quite well. And I'll mark them down. You know what? I'll go back after I've commentated over this, and you'll see all my braking markers come in, and I got most of them sorted, except towards the end. Like around here is where they started to get a little bit hazy, because making it to this point is kind of like, what's that game? Getting Over It with whoever that person was. It was so hard to get here. So when you get here, your braking markers and knowing what to do really kind of just goes out of the window because you don't really know what it is that you have to do. And it ends up becoming a bit scrappy. Though racing this in first person with a steering wheel is kind of one of the best things in the world, and I absolutely love it. It's fantastic. But as we go through here, you can see that we've made it quite a ways into this lap currently. As you can see the timer up there, we're doing pretty well, 2 minutes already, and not a single accident. This was absolutely phenomenal. We're coming up to literally the final few corners. We just have to make it around a few more and then we're done. And oh my god, this is just a dream coming up to the final corner here, guys. And there it is, the finish line. Oh, yes. By this point, yes, I was very exhausted, so yeah. Well, this was a bit of a nightmare. Being in first person in a car that is really kind of pushing its limits and me trying to push myself to do better, that took a really long time. I'm going to estimate that that probably took ever so slightly under an hour to do a 2.5 minute lap. Oh my god. But this is the first of many. There will be weekly of these, even when I downscale my release schedule in a couple of weeks, or maybe it's a week. No, a couple of weeks, 3 weeks maybe. Yeah, this one will be a one that sticks on regularly. This is something I kind of had planned for a while. I just wasn't sure what map I wanted to use. And then for some reason, up in YouTube popped up a recommended video and I thought, yes, that's what I'm using. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I'll catch you next time. Goodbye.